Hey, Dr. C with you. So what's the second thing to do for thyroid recovery, for getting your health back, for feeling better again, for getting past all of this? The second one is appropriate use of nutraceuticals. Now, I talked before about iodine, nutraceuticals. Yeah, so it's kind of funny because we think about pills as being things that are useful, but not always as where you start. And I don't think they're the first thing to do, but I think they're early along important for a couple of reasons. One of which is the wrong pills can keep you from getting better. So it's important to know what's helpful and what's not, so you're not doing things that hold you back and prevent your progress. The other thing is that people take pills anyway, they're not hard, and they're low-hanging fruit. So if you take ones that are useful, all of your other harder efforts in terms of diet and lifestyle can give you a lot more benefit, and that's totally worthwhile. Another high-level idea, you don't need a lot. It's just a few that are really well selected and appropriate for your needs. Quick call out, thyroid-specific formulations, I made all of these for those purposes, and at that website, the .com, there's a quiz. You can just jump on the quiz and say, hey, it'll ask you about your symptoms, your current health, and give you recommendations for a couple thyroid supplements if they're appropriate for you. So yeah, and what do you want to include in that? What are the good things to start with? You know, there's so many nutrients that are relevant for just everyone with thyroid disease, and multis are a good idea anyway. So I always encourage people to start with a thyroid-specific multivitamin. And what are some things to look for? Well, you need to have a couple of special B vitamins. There's one called pyridoxal 5-phosphate. It's an activated form of B6. Those with thyroid disease can't activate B6 very well. There's a mineral called molybdenum that's important. The liver needs that for activating thyroid hormones. A lot of folks are low in that. A few more important B vitamins, B12, especially methylcobalamin, is essential. Biotin is a big one for hair health with thyroid disease, but you don't want too much. This is an odd paradox, but if you get too much of it, you actually block thyroid hormones and you totally mess up thyroid lab results. Some minerals are critical too. Selenium, there's certain forms that are better than others. Copper is an important thing. Vitamin K, especially K7, those are some big things that are important to include. And then there's things you want to avoid. Top of that list would be iodine. You know, multis pretty much always have iodine. Another one is B6. Now, if you heard me a minute ago, I talked about a version of B6, and I did, but the synthetic version is called pyridoxine hydrochloride. Because those with thyroid disease can't activate it well, it becomes toxic for them, so they really want to avoid that. So too, just megadose B vitamins in general. For a long time, all the supplements had B complex in amounts that were thousands-fold the RDA. No more. You know, it's really not appropriate. More is not better. In the case of nutrients, more is less. When you get too much, you block the receptors, and you get the same problems you get from too little. Another case in point would be manganese. It's a mineral where a little bit is fine, but even above a couple milligrams, it can slow thyroid function. My answer to this question was the Thyroid Daily. It's a 1 capsule once a day multi that covers all the bases for general health and for thyroid function. And there's a few other supplements I'm going to talk about, but what happens is that different things can overlap and cause you to get too much of any certain ingredient. So when we talk about next, like thyroid autoimmunity, for example, there's many nutrients that are in the multi that also help with autoimmunity, so I left those out of the autoimmune formula. Otherwise, you would get too much if you're on both. So what that means is that you always want to have that foundational multi with everything else, because there's stuff in it that helps them. But if I put them separate and everything, you'd get too much of some stuff. So it's made to where if you need multiple different products at once, it's totally fine. You're not going to get redundant overlapping doses. Okay, so next thing to think about, if you've got thyroid antibodies or signs of thyroid autoimmunity. I won't belabor this one, but about half of people with autoimmune thyroid disease don't have measurable antibodies. They only know about that through their ultrasound. So just importance of screening that way. But yeah, if you've got autoimmune thyroid disease, it by itself causes problems even if you've got abundant thyroid hormones. So it's important to manage the autoimmunity. There's been good research about a little extra selenium, about specific subspecies of Nigella, about certain types of inositol. These things, when used right, they've been clinically shown to lower thyroid antibodies and improve a lot of the associated complications. And they're safe. This is stuff that's found in food, it's naturally occurring, there's no big drawbacks to them. But in addition to lowering the antibodies, they can help thyroid cells repair. This has been shown by human placebo-controlled double-blind studies. Next thought, if there's a deficit of thyroid hormone, if you're hypothyroid, there are things that help that way too. One example is methylsulfonylmethane. That is a sulfur donor. It helps your body free up a lot of the present but not available T4 and T3 that's circulating in your system. So you get more of what's there but you're not using just yet. It's one example. Valine, there's good data that a bonus amount of that can help with body composition, can help retain muscle mass and break down fat easier with hypothyroidism. Ashwagandha, certain subspecies of that have been proven to help a lot of the symptoms and also benefit hormone production. Other things that are different about being hypothyroid, you need a little more copper, vitamin A, and folate. So that complements the amounts in Thyroid Daily. The blend here is called Hypothyroid Support, and simple thing, this is simply a 1 daily with food. You can take that along with the others. Next consideration, if there's problems with how your body uses thyroid hormone, those that have problems with weight, fatigue, fatty liver, poor concentration, or low levels of T3 in their blood. They can be lacking in T2 or T3. This is especially a problem for those that lack a thyroid or those who are on T4 only medication. What happens is your thyroid mostly makes T4, but then your liver, your kidneys, your cells, a lot of other parts, they collaborate to convert not just to T3, but also to T2, and also about a dozen other thyronomines, a whole lot of other active thyroid compounds. And if you can't convert well, you don't feel well. Your body needs to control that effectively. So micronutrients help here too. Some that have been well studied include D-limonene, ellagic acid, calcium D-glucarate, proanthocyanidins. What these things do is they help your body, quite simply, convert these hormones better. My blend here is called T2 T3 converter. It's also just one once daily with food. That's a big overview about some of the best starting places. Nutraceuticals have a lot to offer here. They can also help reduce nodules. They can benefit the metabolic rate. They can improve sleep issues. They can help raise low iron. They can improve adrenal function. So it's not a lot. It's just a couple things that are specific for you, but the right ones can make a huge difference on your journey back to recovery. And again, they're part of the big picture, which starts with iodine management, includes the right nutraceuticals, none of the wrong ones, and also make sure that if you're on meds, you're on the right ones and they're helpful for you. And if you don't need them, you're on a path to reduce or come off of them. But with these steps, recovery, vibrant health, it's yours. It's totally possible, and I'd love for you to have that again.